welcome back from your break. I hope your brains are fresh because now things are going to get a little more complicated. Okay, what we've done so far is we've looked at the types of tissue and the structure of the plant parts. And what we're going to be looking at now is we're going to be linking that to how the different parts of the plant actually function. So we're going to start off by revising plant functioning. And almost everything a plant does is based on water. And in previous lessons, we looked at how water goes in through the root, goes all the way up, and it goes out again through the leaves. The different tissues involved are water entering the root hairs here, going through the cortex into the xylem, being pushed up by root pressure, being kept together by capillarity, and ending up inside the xylem vessels in the root. This shows the tissues involved, how water moves in through the root hair into the xylem, how it's pushed up by root pressure, how it moves up by capillary action, and how the water actually eventually gets into the xylem in the leaf, and it then moves out through the stomata. We're going to have a look briefly at each step. How is water absorbed? In through the root hairs, moves either through the cells, into the xylem, or moves along the cell walls. Same thing happens, also goes into the xylem. Once it's in the xylem, there's osmosis, pushing the water up through root pressure. It moves through the xylem, through capillarity, and it ends up in the leaf, and it exits the leaf, and this causes transpiration, pull. What actually happens in the leaf is the water comes out of the xylem, goes into the cells, into the air spaces, and eventually moves out through the leaf in transpiration. Then, when we did this section, we also looked at how plants can be adapted so that they don't lose so much water through transpiration. And there are different ways that they can do this. They retain water vapor, and an example there is a sunken stomata. They also have hairs. They also prevent water loss by having a thick cuticle. They have as few stomata as possible by the leaves being small, or they have their stomata mainly on the leaf lower surface where it doesn't get quite so hot. Then we also find that the environmental factors affect how quickly transpiration occurs, and in our previous lessons we had a look at some of these and how they affect transpiration. And the factors that affect the transpiration are temperature, light intensity, wind, and humidity, and we did look at some experiments on these. The last aspect we're looking at about how substances are transported around the plant is the translocation of food. We know that water goes up to the leaves use the water to make food. Well, what happens to the food then? So here we have a leaf cell which has made food during photosynthesis, and the food it's made is sucrose. The sucrose moves towards the vascular bundle into the companion cell. It then goes into the sieve tube cell, and the sieve tube cell then moves it all the way down in the phloem to the root. When it gets to the root, the sugar or sucrose goes out through the companion cell, and it goes into the root cells, and the root cells either use it up for energy or they store it for springtime, and that food would then be used for growth to start in spring. Now, the reason why phloem has companion cells is substances don't always move down. Sometimes, if a flower or a fruit is being made, the leaves make food and they send it up to the fruit in the phloem. And that's why you have companion cells, so that if necessary, the sugar can be moved up into the fruits. Before your brains burst too much, let's take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we will look at how to answer questions on these particular aspects of plant structure and functioning. See you later.